Welcome to Precept 5, Understanding Your Mind. We've been layering our lessons, building upon a foundation of consciousness. And in the last precept, we were learning about how to become more conscious of how conscious we are. And one of the best ways to do this is really to analyze your mind, to analyze your thoughts, as if you were your own psychologist in a way, and study your mind so you understand how it works, what it needs, and what you can give it so it works better. And if you don't tend to it like a garden, sometimes you got to pull weeds, sometimes you have to water or add fertilizer. In the same way, you have to tend to your mind. It will pick up bad habits, or you might get caught in some old programming that keeps you from feeling all the love and joy or have as much success as you might otherwise have. So without doing some work on yourself and really understanding your mind, you're not going to live with as much excitement and as much meaning, peace, or happiness as you could. So you have everything to gain, you have nothing to lose. But sometimes there's a fear involved in looking at our past or where we got our imprints, because some of those imprints aren't always good ones. Most of us have had some kind of traumatic experience. So part of what I want to do with you today is I want to love you and I want to be there to support you as we begin to look at some of these imprints together, and then you can extrapolate further in your own journaling. But I want to invite you to engage your mind and body and to begin a healing process within yourself, and allowing yourself to really understand that none of these things that have happened to you before can hurt you now, that they're just imprints in your mind, and having that awareness will actually help you transcend some of those old patterns or imprints or thoughts that you've had. So let's begin with that intention, that we want to learn and grow and evolve. You want to realize your full potential. You want to realize yourself, enlighten, be the best person you can be, find more joy and happiness and peace in your life. And then as you breathe out, I want to invite you to let go of everything else. Let's let go of all our resistances, all our fear. We can let go and let God. And we'll start with a little prayer. Lord, how may I be a pure vehicle or channel for your love and light and wisdom? Come into me and guide me. Please guide me. I don't want to be anywhere without you. I just want to be with you. So there's that sense of longing for God, that sense of being open to receive that grace that is keyed in this process. So I want you to breathe in and feel that presence of God alive, causing your heart to beat right now. Just breathe in and then hold your breath and feel your heart beating. And as you breathe out, give yourself to that which gives life. Give yourself over to the very life force flowing through you. Simply put your attention on it and let that life force and that innate intelligence guide the meditation for you. And then it becomes easy, effortless, and enjoyable. So today we're going to take it up a notch again. Each class we're going to develop more energy and learn to move into a higher calibrated level of consciousness. So come in and feel the energy in your body now. Recognize the volition it brought you here, why you're here. So now we're connecting with that inner guidance. You and I are all connected with it. And anyone can connect, just most people aren't. The way you connect is by going within and connecting. So now we're connecting. Breathe out. You can close your eyes and just unbutton your mind. Step out of the garment of your earthly self or physical body and mind. And imagine that we are sitting together as spirit in this jacuzzi of consciousness. And we can just soak in this warm, loving feeling, a pool of love. And as you breathe in, allow that warm feeling to soak into your muscles and tendons and bones. As you breathe out, just feel any kind of tension or resistance or negativity. Just feel it dissolving. And let yourself be loved, man. Just be loved. Let's get down with God. Everyone breathe in and open your heart a little bit more. And let that love in, man. And as you breathe out, just drop the burden, drop the doer, drop the trier. There's no right or wrong. There's no judgment here. You just let go, let God, and enjoy the feeling. Again, breathe in and feel the energy flowing in your nervous system. Just imagine the nerves going up and down your spine, extending out into all the extremities and into your organs. Imagine the chi and all the meridians. You ever seen an acupressure chart and seen the acupressure points going up and down all the arms and legs and the torso, going into all the organs? Just imagine these rivers of magnetism flowing. And these fields, you've perhaps seen a Kirlian photography or some other kind of chart measuring either heat or electromagnetism, different kinds of fields around the body. You're discharging a different amount of energy right now. And as you engage it through this third eye point, so roll up and gaze into your mind's eye, now you've turned it on. It starts cycling very naturally. You don't push it, you don't force it. You just observe it and enjoy it. So breathe in and focus your attention at the point between the eyebrows. Feel the energy in your nervous system. Feel it in your chi. Feel it in the electromagnetic fields around your body. See if you can feel it around the electromagnetic fields around the earth. As you breathe in, draw that magnetism in to your lungs as the prana, the life force. Feel it cycling in your body. Feel the energy of the sun. Comes in as heat and light, right? But there's also tremendous amounts of magnetism and gravitational forces that are moving through us, other invisible forces, and through the other planets and through the other stars. Expand your awareness out so at least you're peripherally aware that there's energy being discharged through the center of the galaxy and through all the stars. And in fact, that there is a unified force flowing through the entire universe as it continues to expand. And you are expanding with it. Now breathe out and just let yourself slip into this peaceful state in the jacuzzi of consciousness. Connect it with the universe. And bring your hands up. And now connect with me. And see if you can feel the difference that the Shaktipat takes. You know, I started my yoga practice literally as a child. I was teaching yoga by high school. I'd studied with Iyengar and Shivananda's group, Vishnu Devananda, and with Yogi Bhajan. And many of the yogis you've heard of did my tapas with Shiva Bala Yogi and Kundalini with Vettatri Maharishi. And nothing that I found was so powerful as Shaktipat. That doesn't mean there's only one way, a best way. But since you're here experiencing this, I want to invite you now to breathe in and see if you can stretch your capacity to receive and recalibrate yourself. So I'm just going to start moving into a higher state right now. And you just put your hands up like I'm doing, mirroring me and connecting with me, and see if you can feel the energy shifting right now. As if I'm in the room with you. That's good. Draw it in. Let it in. Let it in. Very good. And now you can bring your hands down, close your eyes, and continue your focus at the point between the eyebrows. And I just want to go through an exercise that Swamiji gave me that was very powerful, that helped me get through a lot of programming from my past, traumas from my childhood, places where I was hurt or holding myself back out of fear of being loved or being wrong or being judged or whatever. And we all have these imprints. And there's a way to move beyond them. But the first step is to understand them and to see them for what they are, because none of them can hurt you now. What happened in the past is only relevant to the present to the degree you bring it into your present and react to it again, or reinforce the neural network that caused the pain to begin with. So I want you to gaze into your mind's eye, and let's think about, well, where did I get my sense of self? When you came into this world, you didn't know your name or your gender, or you didn't have a religion or a nationality, really. That was something you adopted or that formed through your association, through your senses, through your cognitive experiences of life. But then you take birth, you learn you're a Stephen or someone else. You learn that you're a boy or another gender, that you're an American or another nationality, that you're a Christian or another faith. You're this or that or the other. You start associating in your neighborhood the kind of things you watch on TV or listen to, the church you went to, the media that you were listening to. So many different factors created the sense of self that your mind has. And some of those imprints serve you well. We need imprints. We need programs. There's so many tasks that we perform in a day that it just makes sense that we build into our system a way to flow with these circumstances so we don't have to develop a new one each time it comes. But so many times we get these old programs that don't serve us anymore. Fear, anger, jealousy, hate, self-loathing, etc. That those don't serve us. They don't serve God. They don't help you bring more light into the world. So let's intend today that we're going to clear out negative imprints that we don't need. Ask the divine to guide us. And then be mindful of what those programs were, so that as they come up, we simply see them and shift them. And we can start that right now. So breathe in. And I want you to think about your parents, because most of the imprints you got through your family. Some of them may have been genetic. Doesn't mean they can't change, by the way. Some of them are because you are the product of your mother and father's seed and egg, and the energy that went to them coming together. There's energy, in other words, and there were karmic lessons being learned. There were proclivities of both your mother and your father. So there's a dynamic about who they were, what lessons they were going through that would tend to be duplicated in one way or another in your own life. We see this a lot with alcoholism as an example. If your parents were alcoholics, you probably have a greater tendency to fall into alcoholism as a result. So there's other types of aberrant behavior, it doesn't necessarily involve drugs, that you may have adopted, or a pattern that may have not, there may be a better pattern to use now. So it's not to judge our parents or anyone else, it's just to understand the process of evolution of our own consciousness, and that we get imprints from other sources. And the first place we go or get imprints from our biological parents, and then whoever else raised us. Sometimes we have other parents growing up. Both will affect or could affect our own imprints, views of life, and what we have to learn and move through in order to find peace. So, what were your parents' life experiences? Think about your mother to start with. Think, well, what was her life experience? What were her lessons in life? What was she most challenged by? What was she really good at? What were the things she seemed, from maybe your perspective, to have difficulty learning, or what was hard for her? Because there's a very good chance you taking those same tendencies and then looking within yourself and saying, well, maybe there's a little bit of that in me I could look at, and maybe there's something I can change in myself. I don't have to be that way just because that was inherent or a condition growing up. It doesn't mean you have to live with it. Same thing with your father. You can look at him and say, well, what were his life lessons? How did he express himself? Or in what ways was it difficult for him to? How did he share his love? What was his capacity? What do you think his tests in life were? And then you look at your own life and say, well, am I being tested in a similar way? So you can look at them, and looking at your mom and dad and their traits and personality and life lessons, you will sometimes learn and gain insights into your own makeup and see what parts of yourself you'd like to change, and just note them in your journal. Then your children, if you have any, become another mirror to you, right? You'll see parts of yourself or your spouse in your children sometimes. That can also be a teacher to you. The other aspect about your mom and dad, of course, is how you were parented. What concept of yourself did you get from your mom and dad? How did they look at you? What did they look up to in you? In what ways do you think they looked down? Or what issues do you think they had? You see, and what kind of self-image did you develop based on what they thought, or what judgments they might have had, or what expectations they had, or what you lived up to or didn't? Not to make any of it right or wrong, by the way. It's just you should understand what your brain did with it, how it filed that information, and how you think of yourself as a result, because you're not stuck in some of those old programs that you got from your family or from society or from anywhere else. So look at your mom and dad, look at the dynamic of their life and their life experiences, look at the dynamic of how they related to each other and others, and then look at how the relationship between you and your parents were, and what you learned about yourself, or what ideas you got about yourself from your mom and dad. Because there's a lot of people in this world that have very bad feelings about themselves based on experiences they had through a parental figure. And you needn't suffer from that anymore. You can change it, and the first step is to be aware that it's just an imprint in your brain. It's literally just a program, like a recording on a magnetic tape that you can play back and hear. You've got a recording in your brain. Your brain is just a computer. So understanding your brain's a computer, understanding that there's imprints you got from your childhood that you don't need, looking at it or contextualizing it from that perspective will help you deal with it again if it comes up again. You just kind of see it for what it is, and it's more like not a big deal. It's just something that happened in my head rather than a big thing that happened to you, and all that drama tends to go away because you're not feeding it anymore. It's like if you take a whirlpool and you take your finger and spin it, get that whirlpool going, it'll keep going as long as you're spinning it with your energy and attention. You keep thinking about it and feeling it and talking about it, going over and over and over, you perpetuate it. You reinforce the neural network so it keeps firing off. But if you step back as the witness, as we're learning to do now, you find that if you're not feeding it with your attention, that old program, that old fear, that old emotion that used to consume you, it doesn't have any power anymore because you've disconnected from it. And that's what we're doing in this exercise. We're looking at things objectively, seeing them for what they are, and not being caught up in them. So just observe your mind right now. Stay in the peace. See if you can bring yourself into that objective awareness and peace, and look at your brain and say, okay, I had different imprints from my mother, my father. You can go on to your grandparents. What was the thing you learned most from your grandmothers and your grandfathers? Or your other siblings? You can go through your big brother or sister, or little brother or sister, what other step brothers, sisters, other family members, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, stepmothers, fathers, and so forth. How did they affect you? You should know that. You should have like an accounting. And where are your fears and your angers and your limiting beliefs? You'll find that it's the result typically of some imprint from an external source. And you don't need to keep that in your brain. It doesn't serve you. It's probably completely erroneous anyway, you see? And we're going to work on this some more in other lessons. So you've got your family imprints. The other one is the place and time that you were born, the era that you lived in. You know, the 60s was a lot different than the 70s, which were a lot different than the 80s, which were a lot different from the 90s, which are a lot different from now. Things do change. Different countries can be very different, different parts of a country, even different parts of a city. I'm in Los Angeles right now, I'm in Malibu. But when you go through Carson or you go through other, we'll call inner city neighborhoods, you'll see this is like a whole nother world. And when I travel to India, it literally is a whole nother world, or Tibet. And sometimes we don't even recognize how much we've been affected by the culture, by the society, what kind of cultural norms and imprints make what we do right or wrong. We develop judgments about ourselves. And that can be very limiting for us. So I want to invite you to look at how are you affected by your culture, by your nation. What are you told in school? the things that you listen to. Most people tend to like the music they listen to in high school. I guess high school's, you form a lot of impressions. You start becoming more influenced by your peer groups too. And so how were you affected in high school and then college? What were the things, how did you direct your attention? What were the imprints then, and how did that formulate your thinking? And some of it no doubt served you well, and other things might not have. So you understanding your own imprints is going to help free you from them, or develop new traits that are going to help you even more. What about your religion? I love God. I don't care what religion. I love God by any name because there's just one God. There's one creator as far as I'm concerned. But I was brought up with the Bible. I love Jesus Christ. He lives in my heart. Wherever I go, he's with me. But I look at the way Christianity is taught today and this emphasis on judging others and fear and guilt and shame. I don't believe, having studied Christianity for 30 years and writing books on it, that that is the essence of the teaching. Certainly we want to transcend our sins or errant ways and become better people. But I see Christ's teachings as a way of looking within to find the presence of God within ourselves. The kingdom of heaven lies within. And he not only recounts this in the New Testament, but it's also in the other books such as the Gospel of Thomas and books that were less emphasized. But the biblical teachings themselves are to help prepare us for a better world. And the best way you become a better person is by understanding what's been keeping you from being a better person. And that's by really studying your mind and seeing, well, what is this sin? So if you were told that you're a sinner and you're going to go to hell, and sometimes there's these impressions that you get that make God like this nasty old man instead of the love itself that is expressing through all of life. And so I want to invite you to question what you've learned. Not because it's wrong necessarily, and question what I'm telling you too. Because the more you can think for yourself and question, the more you're going to be freed by the imposition of others that don't know. Which brings me to the media. Most people have no idea how much the media is trying to affect you. They actually affect you through NLP and hypnosis and flicker speeds and subconscious and subliminal marketing to get you to think a certain way, whether it's to buy something or to vote for a certain party or to agree to go to war. There are people that are trying to tell you what to think, and they're being very successful in creating consensus. It's called manufactured consent in the Central Intelligence Agency and in books about propaganda by Edward Bernays or others. They say there's a way to manufacture consent to get a whole society to go along with what you want. And these practices are being used in the media. So if you're watching any news station, whether it's television or the radio or now the internet, you are being affected by people who are consciously trying to control your mind. And so it's important you look at all media sources or any information, any guru talking to you or preacher, anyone that's trying to give you information. It's important that you stop and look at it and say, well, is this true? Is it right? And is this an opinion or a thought or a feeling that I want to form and hold? Most people are just passive and they let the news tell them what they should think. We need to learn to question, because this control over our collective minds is leading us into wars, leading us into greater debt and poverty, and to a society that's not as prosperous and happy and at peace as it could be. So in addition to our own enlightenment, there's an enlightenment of the world that is unfolding. And this enlightenment occurs just like in the age of enlightenment some 200 years ago, when Locke and Hume and Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense, that kind of led the American revolutionaries to this vision of creating a world where we had a democracy and a republic. This was by a shift in consciousness, and this is what I'm sharing with you. By us collectively shifting our consciousness and becoming more conscious and beginning to question more and not going along with things that are unconscious, we begin expressing more consciously. And as we express more consciously, there'll be less war, less pollution, less greed, less avarice, less of the sins and pains of the world. All our pain and suffering is the direct result of us going unconscious, individually and collectively. So the more we study our minds, the more conscious we become, the more we bring happiness and peace into our life. And as we share this with others and they become more conscious, this higher consciousness grows into the collective consciousness, just like the suffrage movement or the civil rights movement or the independence movement. We see it's a spreading of a consciousness within the masses of society. And now you are at the leading edge of this collective movement that is awakening the planet right now. So everyone, take a deep breath. And as you inhale, I invite you to open your heart a little bit more. Close your eyes, gaze into your mind's eye, dive into the feeling. Let that feeling be your guide. And follow the feeling down the corridors of your own mind. Let it take you back to the place before thoughts arise. And in the emptiness of the void, you simply allow your attention to dwell. You allow your individual consciousness to merge into total consciousness. There's just consciousness. Bring your hands up. And let's see if we can take it up yet another notch. See if you can feel your way, like when you feel your way in the dark. When you put your hands up, just kind of pat the air in front of you, like you were having to feel your way down a corridor or feel where a door is or something. And as you move your hands forward and back, see if you can feel the energy that is now coming to you. Feel it getting stronger now. I'm going to start moving the energy up by degree. Higher and higher. So feel the tingling in your hands and your palms. It might feel like there's a ball of light, like a golden white light. Balls of light in each palm. And it's spreading into your hands and fingers, like mittens of light. And then feel that light rolling down your arms, through your elbows, into your shoulders, and into your heart. And as you inhale, just absorb the feeling and open your heart. And now as you breathe out, spread the light out again. You feel it getting stronger? Again, inhaling. See if you can open it up a little bit more. And again, breathing out and feeling it spread out farther and farther. And one more time, inhaling, gentle, opening and opening. And then bring both hands down, back on your knees. Close your eyes, roll your eyes up, and just dive into the feeling. Now just connect with the peace. Connect with the joy. Connect with the bliss. So it starts out very peaceful, maybe a little swoony, maybe a little floaty. And as you continue to focus and dive into the feeling and let the feeling guide you, what happens is the feeling gets stronger. It's a confluence. And you feel more uplifted, you feel more light, you feel more love, you feel more floaty, and pretty soon it feels like a buzz, like you're getting high. I like to say bong hits on God. Not everyone likes that analogy, but it's that idea is all of a sudden you're just, wow, there's this beautiful, loving feeling that's filling you up. So breathe in and let that loving feeling, that natural high, fill you up. And as you breathe out, let it flow. Feel it moving into your cell structure. It's like every cell in your body is remembering this feeling. So you can dial in on it at will. It's like permeating and making an impression. It's like your mind can now remember to come back here whenever you want to. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. But now you've got the connection. And now it's going to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So breathe in again and open your heart just a little bit more. And now feel this energy moving out into your mind. And wherever there's been pain, whenever there's been an aberrant or negative energy, just feel a positive energy. Like a knot. Imagine we're taking a conditioner, which is our awareness, and we're just very slowly, like taking a comb and rubbing it through the hair, very slowly, to undo the knots. Just feel this loving feeling flowing through your mind, clearing your mind of any negativity. And let peace flow through your mind. Allow the peace to flow. You are protected and guided by the divine in all your activities, day and night, in all places. May you enjoy good health, long life, prosperity, happiness, and peace. May the whole world live in happiness and peace. Om Shalom. Amen. So go ahead and slowly open your eyes. And one of the things you can do is to rub your palms to create a little friction, and then palm your eyes like this. And that helps. Sometimes when you look at your third eye a lot, there's a little eye strain. If you're meditating, you get a headache, you may be gazing too intently. Drop your gaze. And at the end of the meditation, you can just palm your eyes and then rub your hands down over your face a couple of times. And that just kind of helps bring you back. And now the idea is to bring this feeling into what you think and say and do. So in your journaling, your assignment will be now to become aware of where you got your imprints, to make notes on who influenced you in what ways, and if you have a prejudice, a bias, a jealousy, an imprint that you don't like, just identify it. It's not to blame the other or to even go into the old circumstance anymore. Don't relive the experience. Just make note of the imprint. And most importantly, think about the better way to look at it. See it for what it is, so that the next time that feeling or sense comes up again, you don't have to acknowledge it and feed it. And if you've been hurt, if there's somebody that has hurt you, I want to invite you to forgive them. This is one of the most powerful practices. Swamiji used to say, take a picture and put it on your altar. Or if you don't have a picture, write the name of the person. Maybe you were molested, or maybe you had a bad divorce, or maybe something happened to you that was really bad. It's not to accept the behavior, but it's to heal your wound. I want to invite you to think of that person now and just send them some love. Just start with one person and just send them some love. And if you can't do it anyway, just say it. Go through the action. Even if it's only 1% sincere, do something right now. Just break the resistance and forgive them. Say, I forgive you. And maybe you need to forgive yourself too. Maybe you feel like there's something inside you need forgiving. Well, ask. Feel the penance and move on. So you may not be able to forgive the person 100% the first time you go through the motion of saying it. So it's important you do it again in your next meditation at the end, and again and again. So I want to invite you now to begin the process of forgiving and healing. Go to the people that you need to forgive and forgive them. And if it helps you to communicate with them some way, by all means do so. I'll let the divine guide you to the right course of action there. But the idea is that you don't hold on to that negativity, because anger is a way we punish ourselves for someone else's mistake, and there's no reason you need to live in that pain anymore. So I give you permission to let go of all your pain and to forgive everyone in your life and to let your life be filled with love. God bless you.